Hey guys, it's Bella, and I just wanted to share with you in this video a really fun tidbit, which is part of a sermon which was spoken in Ostrogothic Italy contra paganos, against the pagans. So what this is well, it's the sermon entitled Contra Paganos, chapter 7, part 4, or part 4, chapter 7, I should say, from the Collectio Veronensis, which is one of my favorite manuscripts from Ostrogothic Italy, because it's one of the few that was produced by and used by the Ostrogothic Church directly that we have surviving to the present day. Now, it is actually a palimpsest, this manuscript. We don't really have it surviving in an intact form because Catholics in later centuries tried to scratch out and erase the heretical Arian Christian contents that were in this manuscript. There's a lot of really amazing things that we can see about it. One of them is these sermons, which seem to have been spoken in the Arian church. And one of the even more interesting things about this is that on these Arian sermons in the margins, we actually have writing in the Gothic language. It seems that there were scribes who were, or readers who were studying these Latin sermons, who were maybe more comfortable, either were more comfortable writing in the Gothic language or wanted a very easy tag by which to remember what passages in the Gothic Bible this Latin poem, this Latin sermon was referring to. So lots of very interesting stuff concerning Gothic religion and identity that we have surviving here. And this sermon against the pagans is no exception, although this one was probably composed in the Greek part of the Roman Empire, based on or translated from Greek, given the high numbers of Greek loanwords that are in here. But that is not why I'm focusing on it today. I'm focusing on this bit because, frankly, it's very funny. This preacher has bars. He's a very effective preacher, and I'm going to read through this and then translate it for you. Now, one thing that I want to caveat before I start this is that the text that I've given you here I've standardized it to be regular Latin, whereas the original is really phonetic, and that's one of the other fun bits about the Collectio Veronensis, is that it shows us some of the early sound changes that were happening in Ostrogothic Latin, which would obviously ultimately lead into Italian. So very interesting stuff. But for now, I'll read this out for you guys. So, nam de vestre ipse, quas ad seritis venerandas obscenitatis vizio detinentur. Ex quibus unam solam venerem dicitis esse in cello, et in astris ponitis. Cur non, interrogo, et Iunonem et Minervam vel Diannam vel ceteras. Anquia venerem dicitis, speciosam, Ideo eam in cello sabetare memoratis, et istas causa peditatis terrennis edibus deputatis? Quid illa in pudentissima femmina inter tot viros facit in cello? Quid sibi vindicat? Uxores alicuius an mater ansor an filia? Sed si nil orum est, et proper pulchritudinem tantum eam dicitis esse in cello, quae fuerit fornicaria, vide quam nefarium sit criminosam pulchritudinem dicere esse in cello. Et Minervam non dicitis, quam dicitis castam et sapientem? Apparet vos, quia carnales estis potius, quam spirituales, qui venerem propter pulchritudinem, et non Minervam propter sapientiam, in cello esse volueritis. Nonne ista es Venus, quam clamant vestri poete, et vulcani, et angisis, et adonnis, et ceterorum criminosum impudica maldudram potius, quam pudicam unius viri uxorem. So, I put a bit of a dramatic spin on that. It's really fun. Let's dive into why it's so fun. So, nam de vestre ipse quas ad certis verandas, for your goddesses, which you assert are to be venerated, obscenitatis vizio detinentur, which is by the vice of obscenity they are chained, they are held back. ex quibus unam solam vendrem dicitis esse in cello, out of which, out of the goddesses, unam solam vendrem, only one, Venus, dicitis esse, you say to be, in cello et in astri ponitis, in the sky, and you place her among the stars. Ut non, interrogo, et non nemet Minervam vel Dianam vel ceteras. Why not, I ask, do you also place Juno and Minerva or Diana or the other goddesses in the sky? And this is, of course, referring to the fact that Venus is a planet and the others are not, because, yeah, like, to them it would look like one of the stars. An quia Venerem dicitis speciosam, indeo eam in cellos habitare memoratis. Or is it because you say that Venus is the beautiful one, and therefore you say you recall that she lives in the heavens, and that these goddesses, Juno, Minerva, or Diana, causa feritatis, for the reason of their ugliness, their hideousness, terrenis sedibus deputatis, you like demote them to the terrestrial abodes. So he's basically saying, you know, is Juno, are Juno and Minerva and Diana not plants because they're too ugly? Very funny shit. I love this. I imagine like the audience must have been like in floods of tears and laughing when he said this. Like I laughed when I read it for the first time. Quid illa impunentissima femina inter tots viros facit in cielo. This is my favorite line. Oh my god, it's such a banger. What is that most slutty woman doing among so many men in the sky? I love it. This preacher is like, look, this Christian preacher is looking up at the sky and he's like, you guys have Venus as a star, but then all of the other planets like Mercury and Mars and Jupiter, what's she doing there among the men? It's literally like a hormone monster like trying to do medieval astronomy. It's so funny. I actually can't handle it. Right, moving on. Quincy Vivindicat, why does she condemn herself? Uxor et alicuyos and mater and sordor and filia. Isn't she somebody's mother or sister or daughter or wife? And it's a bit grim that we've had this, discourse of like, this is why you should respect a woman because she's got a relationship to a man. It's a bit depressing that that has been going on since the Ostrogothic period at least, but moving on. Sensi nil lorem est et propter pulchritudinem tantum eam dicitis esse in cello, quae fuert et fornicaria. But if it's none of these things, and it's only on account of her beauty that you say that she is in heaven, this woman who was a fornicator. Nifide quam nefarium sit. Look, how nefarious it would be, criminosam pulchritudinem dicere esse in cello, to say that sort of criminal beauty, because remember this, he's imputing that among all of these men, Venus is having sex with all of the other planets, and therefore like it's adulterous beauty that she's got. And so it's like a wicked thing to say that she's in heaven because of her beauty. It's wow, amazing. Et Minervam non dicitis, quam dicitis castam et sapientem. And you don't say that Minerva is in heaven, who you say is chaste and wise. So random bit of a feminist support from the anonymous Ostrogothic preacher being like, we should value women for more than just their looks. I mean, he probably didn't actually care that much about that, but moving on. Apparet vos quia carnales estis potius quam spirituales. It appears that you guys are carnal rather than spiritual. Qui venerem propter pulchritudinem et non Minervam propter sapientiam in cello esse volveritis. So, who wish for Venus to be in the sky on account of her beauty, and you don't wish Minerva to be in the sky on account of her wisdom. Nonne ista est Venus quam clamant vestri poete. Surely this woman is the Venus whom your poets shout about. Et vulcani, et angesis, et adonis, et ceterorum, of well, she is the criminosum in budicam adulteram. She is the criminal slutty adulteress of Vulcan, Anchises, and Adonis, and of the others. Rather, and they talk about Venus, the poets, rather than budicam uxorem unius viri, the chaste wife of a single man. So there we go, guys. Sorry I didn't put the vocab in a box in the corner. I just wanted it all to fit neatly onto one page. But there we go. There is a sermon from Ostrogothic Italy, slut-shaming Venus. Very funny, in my opinion. I just love that line. What's that woman doing in the sky among so many men? Oh, beautiful, beautiful stuff. This poem in general, sorry, this sermon in general is just a lot of fun. He really has a tact for tearing into the pagans with humor. Whoever wrote the anonymous preacher who wrote this poem, and also one last little point to note about this from a historical and a learning perspective is that we know that this is a speech which was delivered aloud, viva voce, in Ostrogothic Italy, which is one of the reasons I tried to put a dramatic flair on it. So this is actually quite a good indication of the kind of Latin that one should be able to understand spoken aloud to be considered, I would say, reasonably fluent in it. If you can understand me reading it aloud at the beginning from start to finish, that gives you a sense of that you're at the level of Latin that an average Roman in Ostrogothic Italy would have been. Because there's not that much fancy vocab here. It's fairly ordinary stuff. And this is just everyday speech from Ostrogothic Italy, and it is a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much for accompanying me on this video. If you want me to teach you Latin, you can subscribe to my Patreon, which is linked on the main page of my channel, and it will also be linked in the description. I give lessons for below market rates. You can also join my Discord server where sometimes we do free Latin lessons and we have a bunch of free Latin resources. I also post my tidbits earlier than they drop in my Discord server, and we also have a fun community of interested people. So I recommend joining us and participating. So until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!